Despite the pain of infertility, John and Emily's love remained strong over their 5 years of marriage. They had attempted everything, including adoption agencies and reproductive procedures, but nothing had seemed to work. Emily felt that she was failing as a wife and a woman, so she took the news very hard. However, Emily made a choice one day that would drastically alter everything. She went ahead and adopted a small girl named Lily without first talking to John. When Emily decided to adopt a child without asking John's permission, he was astonished and at first felt deceived. He believed that she had robbed him of the opportunity to become a conventional father. But as the days went by, John found himself pulled to Lily's contagious giggle and cheery smile. He saw that he was spending more and more time with her, reading books to her, teaching her how to ride a bike, and playing games. His bitterness gradually subsided and was replaced by an intense, unconditional love for the young child who had come into their life out of the blue. One night, while John was putting Lily to bed, she raised her large brown eyes to him and remarked, "You remind me of someone." When John questioned, "Who do I remind you of, Lily?" his heart skipped a beat. After a brief period of hesitation, Lily muttered, "My daddy." John froze, questions buzzing through his thoughts. How is it feasible for this to happen? Since Lily was adopted, no one was expected to know who her biological parents were. He felt a chill go down his spine, though, as he glimpsed a glint of familiarity, a spark of connection as he stared into her eyes. John couldn't help but ask Lily about her background, poking her gently but not too much that he overwhelmed her with questions. Her tales started to come to light bit by bit over time. When she was a baby, she had been abandoned and left with nothing but a blanket and a note on the steps of an orphanage. All that was written on the note was, "Please take care of my Lily." John couldn't get rid of the notion that something more was lacking from his life as he heard Lily's narrative. Then it struck him like a lightning strike one day. He thought back to a story he had read years earlier about a couple who had tragically lost their daughter in an accident. Sarah and Michael were the couple, and the loss of their only child had left them devastated. John's hands trembled as he looked for further information online, his heart thumping in his chest. And there it was, a picture of Sarah and Michael with their beloved daughter, Lily, in their arms, grinning and content. When John learned the reality, it was as though all of his energy had been extinguished. Lily wasn't your typical young child. She was the daughter Sarah and Michael had lost, the one they had spent years lamenting over. And now, by some miracle, she had returned to them, guided by fate's unseen hand. John, tears welling up in his eyes, understood what he had to do. He needed to track down Sarah, Michael, and their long-lost kid. It would entail bidding farewell to the young girl he had come to love as his own, and it would not be simple. However, he also understood that it was the one thing that could heal a family that had been shattered by tragedy, and that it was the right thing to do. In order to reunite Sarah and Michael with their cherished Lily, John embarked on a quest to locate them, carrying a heavy heart but a strong sense of purpose. Love won out in the end despite a path full of ups and downs, heartbreak, and optimism. Because Lily knew right away who the man at her door was, her father, finally returning home. John stood on the doorstep, holding the old picture of Sarah and Michael in his shaking hands, his pulse thumping. He inhaled deeply, bracing himself for whatever was to come, and rapped on the door. He waited, the sound of his own heartbeat resonating in his ears, as seconds turned into eons. At last, the door cracked open, revealing a woman with haunting eyes and cheeks full of tears. It was Lily's mother, Sarah. A minute passed during which neither of them said anything, the year's worth of loss and desire hanging heavily in the air between them. At that moment, John added, "I think I have something that belongs to you," in a voice that was almost audible above a whisper. Holding up the photo, he observed Sarah's eyes widen in shock. With shaky fingers, she extended her hand and traced the familiar faces of her daughter and husband. She let out a choking sob and fell into John's arms, her body trembling with the intensity of her feelings. John knew at that very instant that he had made the proper decision. He had brought the girl they had believed to be lost forever back together, bringing a family ripped apart by sorrow back together. And although it meant saying goodbye to Lily, he understood that she belonged with her parents, who had the greatest love of her life. John felt a wave of peace sweep over him as he watched Sarah and Michael, tears running down their faces, embrace their long-lost daughter. He knew he would always remember this moment for the rest of his life, since he had contributed to something wonderful and remarkable. And so, John felt a bittersweet smile tug at the edges of his lips as he watched the reunited family fade into their home, their pleasure and laughter echoing into the night. While he may have lost the young child he had come to love as his own, he also gained something much more in the process. The understanding that love has no limitations and that miracles can and do occur, even in the most difficult circumstances. John struggled to get rid of the empty sensation that followed Lily's departure in the days that followed. The laughing and conversation that had previously filled the halls of the house felt oddly silent. But when the days stretched into weeks, John took comfort in the knowing that Lily was safe and warm in her family's embrace. John and Emily's friendship became stronger every day as they overcame the agony of losing Lily and healed over time. Even though it meant putting their personal happiness at risk, they were confident that they had made the correct choice in reunited Lily with her parents. Subsequently, one day, a letter from Sarah and Michael revealed their love and gratitude for John and Emily, along with a pledge to keep them informed about Lily's development. John read the sincere remarks with tears in his eyes, knowing that they had made a tiny but significant difference in other people's lives. As usual, life continued, but John would never forget the young girl who had won his heart and permanently altered his course. He would always cherish Lily as a reminder of the transformative power of love and the unexpected miracles that can occur. John knew that he would always have Lily in his heart, wherever he went, a beacon of light in the dark that would lead him to a future full of love, laughter, and limitless possibilities, as he gazed out at the world with a fresh sense of hope and optimism. As the years went by, John and Emily's lives kept developing. Though they encountered new difficulties and rejoiced in new experiences, Lily's memory persisted constantly, demonstrating the transformational power of love. John and Emily's love grew stronger as they grew older and found solace in one another's arms. They were aware that although their road had not always been simple, it had been worthwhile in every way, every moment, every tear, every smile. After that, a recognizable figure emerged on the horizon one day when they were sitting on their veranda together and watching the sunset. Now fully grown, Lily was accompanied by Sarah and Michael. John stood to greet them, tears in his eyes because his heart was so full of love and thanks. He felt Lily's warm grip around him and heard her mutter, "Thank you for everything, Dad." John realized at that same moment that he had been granted another chance to watch his young girl grow up, to share in her victories and give her comfort when she was grieving. And he realized that everything had gone full circle and that love had triumphed over all as he gazed into her eyes. John experienced a wave of calm as they locked arms, realizing that he had at last discovered his calling in life, not as a conventional parent, but rather as a protector of love and a ray of hope in a world gone dark. John pulled his family close as the stars twinkled overhead and the night enveloped them in its soothing arms, knowing that they would always be united by love, destiny, and the unbreakable ties of family. John, Emily, Lily, Sarah, and Michael made a ton of memories with each other over the years that followed. They treasured every moment as though it were their last. They laughed, they wept, and they celebrated both major and minor victories. John and Emily were proud to see Lily grow into a strong, self-assured young lady whose compassion and laughter brightened everyone's life in their home. With unwavering gratitude for their daughter, Sarah and Michael embraced John and Emily into their family, understanding that their relationship would bind them together forever. John and Emily grew old together as the years stretched into decades, their love strong despite all of life's hardships. Although they were aware of the short length of their time here on Earth, they found solace in the fact that they had experienced an abundant life full of love, joy, and happiness. John passed away smiling, surrounded by the people he loved most in the world, when the time came for him to finally leave this world. He was aware that he was leaving behind a loving legacy that would serve as a monument to the strength of the human spirit and the influence of family. Knowing that he had lived a life worth living and had improved the lives of people he loved, John experienced a wave of serenity as he breathed his last. And he knew that he would always and forever remain in his family's hearts as he closed his eyes for the last time. As a result, a new day full of love, hope, and the prospect of a better tomorrow dawned for those John left behind as the sun set on his life. And when they gathered to say their final goodbyes, they realized that John's spirit would continue to live on in each and every one of them, serving as a beacon of love in a world that occasionally appeared to be without hope and a guiding light in the dark. With love in their hearts and tears in their eyes, they placed John to rest, knowing that he would always be with them, keeping watch over them, guiding them, and serving as a constant reminder that love is the greatest gift of all.